All right, I'm gonna give you a message today about happiness. The channel's called World Class Happiness. I've previously written a book called World Class Happiness. There you go, World Class Happiness by Dominic King, available on Amazon. Um, Now, there's generally lots of things that make us happy overall. Um, a lot of time people are after this one thing that's going to change everything, kind of a magic cure-all kind of thing. Um, there isn't really one. There's lots of things that kind of amount to you becoming happy. But probably the one best piece of advice that I always tend to pass on, if I've only got a chance to pass on one piece of advice, um, and that is from a person who's now one of my major heroes, is Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a life strategist from America who does some of the things that I'm doing now, but also he stands up on stage, motivational speaker. He hates being called that, but he does do a lot of that, and he has helped millions and millions of people worldwide to become a better version of them. All right, now he's given out loads of different advice on loads of different subjects, but the one thing that always stood out for me was when he says, you get what you focus on. All right, and there's certain things that he does, which I'll maybe talk about in other videos, to kind of emphasize that and to show you that, you know, that is actually a true statement. Now, I'm going to tell you about something that happened to me yesterday. Now, I did a video yesterday, and then I went onto Amazon actually just to check on something about my book, and it's still early days. The book's not long come out, so it's had a few reviews, and up until yesterday they were all 5 stars. I'd had 15 5-star reviews. I'd had several people, or lots of people, contact me via Messenger, and people spoken to me and rang me, and lots of people have said the book's fantastic, love it. You know, I'm halfway through it. I will give it a great review, and you know, lots of really positive, good feedback. And then yesterday I went on there to check on something, and I had 16 reviews, and the latest one was a 2-star review, and I was, for about 10 seconds, I was a little bit knocked off, if I'm honest, for about 10 seconds. All right, now the reason it was only for about 10 seconds is because, other than, you know, somebody not liking me and just doing it just to spite me, which I very much doubt, that person who put the 2-star review has got their own opinion. And I kind of thought about it, and I thought, well, there's no reason why they shouldn't have that opinion, because there's certain things that I talk about in there that maybe they don't agree with. Like, for instance, I'm not a religious person, and maybe they are, and they didn't necessarily agree with everything that I spoke about in the religion section, or maybe they didn't agree with some of the things that I put down about sex, because there's a chapter on sex, and then I talk about depression, and maybe they didn't agree with some of my views on depression and stuff like that. So not everyone's going to always like what you think and have the same opinions as you, and that's totally fine. So after about 10 seconds, I kind of thought to myself, well, there's always going to be people who don't agree with you. Generally people do, and generally people think that a lot of the stuff that I say and write on social media is really good, but not everyone is going to like everything that you do all of the time, and if they do, then maybe you're doing something wrong. So after about 10 seconds I snapped out of it, and I actually looked up my favourite book of all time, which I'm not going to talk about now. I'm going to explain about that later on. I'm going to actually review that book later on, because that's a really great book. And I looked up that book, and that's had a lot more reviews than my book at this stage. And majority of those were 5 stars, which I would have given it. And there was, lo and behold, a 1-star. There was a 2-star. There was a few 3 stars. that's not my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, that particular book is fantastic. I think it's amazing. So, so people have different opinions. So after about 10 seconds, I was no longer too worried about it. Now, what I'm really here to talk about is, as Tony Robbins says, you get what you focus on. Now, I had the choice yesterday to carry on focusing on that 2-star review and letting that get me down. Now, why should I? Because I already had 15 5-star reviews plus all the feedback that I'd had on a personal level. So when you've got one less favourable review, why would I be focused on that when I've got a lot more that kind of is a 5-star kind of quality, either review or 5-star feedback, and that's what I need to focus on. There's a lot more people who are happy with what I've done or agree with the stuff that I've written or said than don't. But there's nothing wrong with people not agreeing. And after about 10 seconds, I was back to focusing on the 15 good reviews and all the other feedback. Okay. Now, yesterday, as it happened as well, I've got a Facebook group also called World Class Happiness, and on there, I posted on there a picture of some swimmers, and there was it was a swim race. In the lead was Michael Phelps, who you probably know is the Olympic swimming champion, and he was just about to touch the wall to win his race in one of his Olympic finals, and the guy who was next to him in the lane next to him was looking over, and I think he was the guy in second, and the caption with it said, losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. So that's what I want you to remember. Don't focus on the people who are less positive, because you're a winner. Winners focus on winning.